Risa TV presents in 3, 2, 1, Dateline Schools with your host, Terry Harrington.
All this week on Dateline Schools has been on the road visiting Marysville High School. That was the host of the 7th Annual 21st Century Learning Symposium, attended by more than 700 educators from around St. Clair County. And this week we had the privilege of talking to one of the keynote speakers of the event, Remi Holden, who is also the co-founder of the Institute for Innovation in Education at the University of Michigan. And Remi, in lieu of what we've been discussing all this week, where do you see education heading in our country next 5, 10, 15 years?
Wonderful. That's a great question. So first of all, we need to really reinvent notions of teaching. Teaching is a practice profession. Teaching, like doctors and lawyers, is a profession that we try again. And I see a great need and great momentum and inspiration around kind of redefining and bringing a new sense of agency to how we understand who is a teacher and what it means to be teaching, whether that means being in the classroom, working online, and working with students in a variety of capacities. Students have access to incredible amounts of information, but how do they filter through that information? How do they synthesize insights? How do they begin to connect that information to particular disciplinary traditions and new forms of creative expression and representation? That's where new roles of educators will come from. Teachers might begin to become brokers, connecting students to what's happening in their communities. Teachers might become almost like agents, helping them to kind of represent their creative expressions, whether that's even expressing mathematics creatively, again, across a variety of settings and platforms. So I think we're going to see in the next 15 to 20 years a real redefinition of what it means to be a teacher, what it means to practice the profession of being an educator. And I think it's very exciting and inspiring. Certainly, perhaps scary for some educators, yet at the same time, I think it's a very kind of exciting time to be. We're on the edge of a variety of identity innovations, some might say. Let's embrace that.
And I know a lot of people don't really endorse a lot of change, especially as quickly as we see things happening. What advice do you give to our teachers, our parents, and our kids?
That's a great question. I think that we see risk-taking being a far more a really appropriate way of acting. We've never seen dramatic changes come by kind of safely playing along with the scripts that have been written for us. Now, this isn't to say that we should throw out those scripts, but rather we begin to change them slowly and again through practice. So how do teachers begin to practice blending their pedagogy across settings? How do students begin to practice finding new ways of researching online, synthesizing information, making their voices heard, being democratically engaged with others? These will be kind of piecemeal by piecemeal new opportunities for students and teachers together along with parents to do that. But that sense of risk-taking also, I think, is really empowering and enlivening, emboldening in some respects. We have the opportunity to literally rewrite ourselves and our identities online. We have the opportunity to kind of iterate upon the tweets that we send, the lessons that we teach. We live in a society that allows for us to kind of constantly play around, to be creative and playful in the work that we do. And my hope is that rather than look at that punitively, that we look at that in a kind of open and creative sense and say to educators and teachers and parents, let's be experimental. Let's embrace our ignorance. Let's play around and take some risks with doing business unusually. Let's unsettle our former habits and patterns of how we then distinguish schooling from learning and move towards an opportunity to more robustly engage learning if the way that we do school has not been as helpful for us in the past. That's exciting for me.
For Dateline Schools, I'm Terry Harrington. Dateline Schools is a production of St. Clair County, Risa.